Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. The day is almost over for me, winding down, and this seems to be a hot topic on the radio, or at least the news channel I listen to on the way home, which is the drug fentanyl. And it's killing kids. There's been 3 kids in one Texas school district that has already been killed. The school district and the Kyle PD is really stepping up and having assemblies, alerting the kids to the dangers of this evil drug. And it is an evil drug. It really is. Um, my understanding is made dirty. My also understanding is the Chinese government is shipping ingredients to make fentanyl to Mexico to the drug cartels, or maybe not to say shipping it to Mexico, but the drug cartels are getting it from China. Is my understanding. I could be completely wrong. But let's see what the Wall Street Journal has to say. How 2 Mexican drug cartels came to dominate Americans' fentanyl supply. The Sinaloa and the Jalisco organizations are the dominant source of synthetic opiates, a leading cause of the U.S. records overdose. Coanican, Mexico, a half built house in a barrio, a longtime Sinaloa cartel employee used to shovel a mix of chemicals in a simmering oil barrel. Nope, that's not the picture. His concoction was the illegal form of fentanyl, which Mexican criminal organizations are churning out at high volume in laboratories and smuggling across the border. Don't really think they're laboratories, but my understanding is just an open area with a roof while they make this. And smuggling across the border in 6 days work week, the cook said that he can make enough fentanyl for hundreds and thousands of doses. A business savvy and growing power in Mexico, the Sinaloa and rival Jalisco cartels dominate the market for supplying the fentanyls in the U.S. They cornered the market after China cracked down on fentanyl production several years ago and are now churning out a bootleg version of the highly potent synthetic opioid that in its legal form is under prescription to treat severe pain. Fentanyl's inexpensive, easy to replicate formula has boosted the appeal to criminal networks. It is also fueling an overdose crisis that have claimed more than 108,000 lives in the U.S. last year, a record. If we were an athlete, people would call it the GOAT, said Jimmy Crotty, who's served as deputy chief of staff of the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, from 2019 to 2021. In fact, it's the most pernicious, the most devastating drug we have ever seen. Like a factory worker at a multinational corporation, the 25-year-old fentanyl cook is part of a globe-spanning production line manufacturing the cartel's highly profitable export. These crude labs, also known, many can be set up inexpensively and quickly torn down and moved or abandoned to evade security forces. Like I said, it's not much of a laboratory. It has someone that's wearing protective gears, just cooking out in the open. The cook says he makes up to $2,500 a week running his one-man lab where he dons a hazard suit, dark glasses, and black cloth mask. If he gets queasy, he said he drinks milk, Jug lines the roughly a 10 by 10-foot lab, including one container, a clear liquid marked pure acetone. Others are marked fentanyl, XXX, and Chinese chemical. The two cartels are named for their respective strongholds in the state Mexico's Pacific coast. Sinaloa, a decades old criminal organization deeply embedded in the economy, politics, and culture of Mexico's wild northwest. Analysts and officials said that Jalisco, farther south, a relatively upstart, has violently challenged the Sinaloa for the market share. Fentanyl production is simpler than a heroin because it's entirely synthetic and doesn't require cultivating the poppies needed for heroin. Busts of Mexican labs or large seizures at the border can quickly offset by new batches without having to wait for the harvest crops or pay farmers. It's also less expensive to make. The plant-based opium needs to produce a kilogram of heroin can cost producers about $6,000, while the precursor chemicals make a kilogram of fentanyl cost of $200 or less, according to Bryce Pardo, Associated Director of RandCorp Drug Policy Research Center, who helped lead a recent bipartisan report on synthetic opioids. Synthetic opioids offer economic and tactical advantages that allow criminals to vastly outpace enforcement efforts. Reports said illegal drug exports to the U.S. from Mexico are worth tens of billions of dollars annually. Is estimate with fentanyl a growing share of the business. Heroin profits have been shrinking as fentanyl becomes more available. Some Mexican poppy farmers in the mountains of Sinaloa says they have lost income as the cartels ship away from heroin and have abandoned their fields. The principal product. I mean, this is kind of a long article. To pretty much say it's easily made. It really is easily made. This was, I don't know when this was written, but it was easily made. We have an open border. We have a president that's not enforcing our immigration status. This was August 30th, so yesterday at 9:46 p.m. It really is. It really is a nasty drug. This is the heart of my video right here. Hays County, Texas, KXN. In the past months, 3 Hays CISD high students have died from suspected fentanyl overdose. Most recent student was just 15 years old. 15 years old. Kyle Police Department and Hays CISD came together Wednesday morning to discuss their concerns and their plan to address this increase in deaths and overdose. Kyle Police Chief Jeff Barnett said a small light blue fentanyl pill looks like a prescribed medicine. The M30 blue pill is supposed to look like Percocet or oxycodone, Chief Bartlett said. But instead, they're laced with fentanyl. It's a danger in Dripping Springs residents. Vicky McCassell knows all too well. She had no idea she was taking fentanyl. She thought she was taking oxycodone. McCassell said McCassell lost her 24-year-old niece to fentanyl overdose at the beginning of this year. She went to sleep and never woke up. Hays, I don't know what the C is, to be honest. Independent School District Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Eric Wright, had dire warnings for families. We need to have those conversations like now. It's not okay to accept and take pills that hasn't been prescribed by their doctors or haven't received from a pharmacy, Dr. Wright said. The district says it plans on educating students of the danger of fentanyls through posters, a website, public service announcements for middle schools and high schoolers. And here's one of the urgent information. Get these children, our students, to understand the risks and dangers and warning signs. Chief Safety Security Officer Jerry Srirachi said. McAllis said that she wanted the students to take these warnings seriously and hopefully prevent one more death. You don't want your parents to have to watch you lie in the coffin lifeless. Ms. Caskill said. Hayes County ISD said has supplied Narcan has a supply of Narcan, a treatment for narcotic overdose. They have it on the campus ready to be administered by the school nurse or student resource officer in the event of an emergency. The district says it's going to roll out a PSA on the dangers of fentanyl in about 2 weeks. According to the White House, because Joe Biden probably didn't write this, and I couldn't even find the little clip of his little press secretary saying that they had a PSA out. Drug Overdose Awareness Week. We remember those tragically lost to overdose and honor the pain of families who are left behind. And we renewed our commitment to take bold action to prevent overdose and save lives. In 2021, more than 100,000 people died from overdose. That's approximately a 15% increase from the previous year. Every loss is a painful reminder that more than ever, we must address our nation's overdose epidemic. Signed, President Joe Biden. But it's coming from Mexico. You have an open freaking border. You have an open freaking border. Like I said, the Sinaloa cartel, the market leaders, said rental sells. Mexican former security chief, U.S. and Mexican officials likened to how the company works, manufacturing and marketing an array of illegal drugs, cultivating the link to suppliers in dozens of countries in Latin America, Europe, and Asia. The cartel is believed to have different units handling jobs such as securing money, laundering, transporting, producing, and bribing public officials. The cartels dominate the economy and life of, I can't pronounce that city. The semi-tropical city of luxury cars, gated neighborhoods, and barrios. The downtown includes a shrine to Jesus Marverde, a bandit who many in Sinaloa's drug trafficking has adopted as a popular saint. The cemetery, housing and air conditioning tombs, 3 stories tall, is a hallway of the resting place of a prominent drug lord and their not so prominent hitmen. Some who plots have bought in bulk by their bosses. The city airport gift shop visitor can buy baseball caps and balls with the number 701, reference to the ranking of the 2009 Forbes list of the richest people. Juanque El Capo Guzman, the drug lord and Sinaloa native son, serving life sentence in a supermax prison in Colorado. Like I said, this is a serious topic, and I'm not trying to make light of it. If you are a teacher at school, if you're a principal at school, make sure your kids know the danger. If you're a parent, make sure your kids know the danger of fentanyl. This isn't something to take lightly. This is killing kids. It has already killed people, 3 kids in Hayes. And as I was, like I said, I was listening to the radio. A assumed teacher called in saying that he has an unpopular opinion. He says that he's swamped with paperwork. He's swamped with forms he's got to fill out. He's swamped with a lesson plan that he has to do. And he can't be bothered to talk about the dangers of fentanyl. He says he doesn't have the time of the day to talk about this to the students. That's the parents' job. I was pretty upset. And people called in after him, echoing my sentiment, saying, All you gotta say is don't do fentanyl. Fentanyl kills. Here's a documentation. Here is a pamphlet that the school board approved to give to you in case you have questions about the dangers of fentanyl. But yet he can't be bothered because he's swamped with work. Well, you know what? I wish that teacher would quit because you can't teach dead kids. You cannot teach dead kids about the danger of fentanyl when they're dead already. I don't know. It's the entitlement that reeks from some of these teachers is maddening and frustrating. Here you have a drug that's killing people in masses, but yet certain teachers feel entitled that it's the parents' job to educate people. Well, guess what? You're a teacher. Educate. Sometimes, sometimes kids think they know everything, and they don't want to listen to their parents. It's the old story of coming to age. Everyone goes through it. I'm pretty sure I went through it where I thought I knew everything. Clearly, I didn't at the time, and I still don't know everything. But if you're a teacher and you have that attitude that you can't be bothered, quit. I don't want my tax dollars going to paying you because clearly you don't care about the lives of your students to warn them from the dangers of a certain drug that's easily passed over the border made by Mexican drug cartels cheaply that's destroying our cities, destroying our neighborhoods, destroying our parks. I mean, people want to talk about fixing the homeless issue. A lot of people are homeless because they're drug addicts. And a good way to treat drug addicts is to prevent them from becoming drug addicts through education of drug use. Now, I am a child of DARE. As silly as that program was, at least that was an attempt to show light. Maybe some people started using drugs because of DARE. Maybe some people didn't. I personally think that this is a topic that needs to be talked about. And if you do drugs, I know this message is not going to help you because you're going to do them anyways because it takes the willpower of an individual to want to be clean and stay clean. And some people don't want to go that route. And I completely understand that. But if you do want to get help, there's people out there willing to help you. And I do hope that you seek help and are successful getting off drugs. That's all I have today. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Am I too harsh on that teacher that called in to that radio show? That he should quit if he can't be bothered to talk about the dangers of drugs? Am I too harsh? Or do you agree with me? Please smash the like and subscribe button on any all platforms or just the platform you're currently watching. But most importantly, don't do drugs. Try to get clean and have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.